want to know real pedagogy, and if you want to know real teaching, and if you want to know real tarbiyah, you go back there. And some of you may have heard the following narration that I will read, and some may have not. But I will read it in Arabic and translate it, and I want you to pay particular attention to what's going on. الحسن رضي الله عنه قال: بينما رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يحدث أصحابه إذ جاء صبي حتى انتهى إلى أبيه في ناحية القوم فمسح رأسه الأب وأقعده على فخذه اليمنى. قال الحسن قال: فلبثت قليلا فجاءت ابنته حتى انتهت إلى الأب يعني، فمسح رأسها وأقعدها في الأرض. قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم: فهلا على فخذك الأخرى؟ لماذا لم تقعد بنتك على الفخذ الآخر؟ فحملها الأب على فخذه الأخرى فقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم: الآن عدلت. حديث مرسل رجاله رجال الصحيح. Al-Hassan radiallahu anhu, and I want you to live the moment. I want you to imagine what's happening. Imagine yourself there. Al-Hassan narrates. He said, whilst we were sitting with Rasulullah and he was speaking to some of his Sahaba. So Rasulullah is busy. He is busy speaking to the people around him. He has a million responsibilities on his shoulders. In fact, he has the concern and the worries of the Ummah, the entire Ummah. And now he is in a busy moment with many companions. إِذْ جَاءَ صَبِيٌّ حَتَّى انْتَهَى إِلَى أَبِيهِ. In that moment, a little boy came in. And he went to his father. في ناحية القوم, sort of sitting almost not in the middle of the center of the gathering, so on the edge, which means he could go unnoticed. The father, فَمَسَحَ رَأْسَهُ, so the father wiped the head of his son and he sat him on his right thigh. You following? Hassan said, I waited a little while, and then the daughter came, also a young daughter. She came in with her father, he wiped her head, but asked her to sit next to him, not on his thigh. To you and I, this would go unnoticed. And you would think also that Rasulullah would not notice it for being, he's got a full schedule, as you would like to say probably. He's so busy. But he noticed. He said to the father, will you not put her on your other thigh? So the man did. Rasulullah said, now you have been just. I don't know, just think about that for a moment. Who would do that? I challenge you to give me any pedagogy that's out there. Whether it's Montessori, whether it's anything out there that thinks like this. None.
Zero.
No, I'm serious, right? Who would think like this? You wouldn't think like that. I wouldn't think like that. But Rasulullah was so meticulous in his observation that he would not let this moment pass. And many lessons we can draw from this. Number one, Rasulullah never neglected those who were around him, including the children, which sadly we often do. Right? Secondly, Rasulullah was not just concerned for the application of justice, which seemingly, what justice are you talking about? He only had his son on his lap, and the daughter sat next to him. How could we even think that that is unjust? But Rasulullah thought it was unjust. So he said, sit her. Why don't you let her sit on your lap also, like you did with the boy? And when he did, he says, now you've been just. Why? Because Rasulullah ﷺ was also absolutely meticulous and careful about the emotions of those young people. He didn't just pay attention to their physical presence. He paid attention to their feelings. Now, I don't like to use modern jargon because Rasulullah ﷺ is above that. But sadly, sometimes we have to do so in order to bring the lesson closer. So in psychology, they would say he's being mindful about the well-being of this young child, who probably would not have noticed it himself. The girl would not have noticed, but Rasul ﷺ noticed. And the third important lesson for all of us, given that we are here for a purpose, is that never ever underestimate the role of role modeling. We will never be able to achieve what we talk about if we don't role model. And role modeling means you start with yourself. I start with myself and pay attention to the finer details. It is those finer details that can make or break. It is that child that might come to your office when you're super busy with the papers, maybe marking the papers, or the principal is having a meeting with other staff, and you see the child standing there at the door. He really wants to speak to you, but you've ignored them. And you neglected them. And when you do that, remember, you are not better than Rasulullah ﷺ, who at one moment of his life, and I'll finish inshallah, who it is said in the seerah that he was waiting to give da'wah to the mushrikeen, the chiefs of the mushrikeen of Makkah, because they refused to listen to him, and finally they gave him an audience. I again imagine the scenario and the scene. So now he has an opportunity to speak to the chiefs of Quraysh who have refused to listen to him for a while. And right in the middle of the conversation, a blind man comes. You know the rest of the story. In that moment, Rasulullah ﷺ, rightfully so, ignored, neglected, did not pay attention to the blind man because of him being super busy. Now, you and I would have let it pass because he's busy. But Allah Ta'ala did not let it pass. Abasa wa tawalla. In the Quran till the day of Qiyamah, Abasa, he frowned and turned away. Who frowned? Who is Allah talking about? Rasulullah ﷺ. Why? Because he's the role model. And a role model cannot afford to do that. And last but not least, I want to speak about quickly your lofty position. As educators and people responsible for education, not only is your place one of privilege, but it is one of responsibility. And such esteem has Islam given to educators and those responsible for the care of children, that many books have been written about it. And perhaps the best summary, and I love always to mention this again and again, was a poem that was written by the famous Egyptian poet in the 1930s, who was lamenting the status quo of education at his time, but at the same time wanted to express the lofty position of educators, and he summed it up beautifully in the first 4 couplets of his poem when he said, قُمْ لِلْمُعَلِّمِ وَفِّهِ تَبْجِيلًا كاد المعلم أن يكون رسولا أعلمت أشرف أو أجل ممن يبني وينشئ أنفسا وعقولا. He said, and this applies to all of us, he said, stand up for the teacher and pay him or her due respect, for a teacher is almost like a messenger. Have you then, he says, have you ever known anyone more noble or exalted than he who builds and nurtures souls and minds? That's what we do. And if that is what we do, then the duty is massive and the responsibility is huge. And the scariest thing, we don't want to stand before Allah Ta'ala when He tells us, you failed with that responsibility. We want Allah Ta'ala to tell us, and I know you tried your best. You did try your best. Maybe you didn't get it right, but I know you tried your best. May Allah Ta'ala give us the tawfiq to try our best. وجزاكم الله خير وبارك الله فيكم. السلام عليكم.